this is Johnny Jet, and this is my 39 travel questions, and today we have Samantha Brown. Can you hear the
Hello.
So, if you haven't known, which I know you know, because Samantha Brown is one of the first, big-time travelers and female travelers. I mean, for the Travel Channel, used to be in the old days until travel went to like Ghost and stuff like that. So travel, I mean, I used to watch your show, Great Hotels. You had like Great Hawaii Hotels, Samantha Brown's Asia, Passport to Europe, and now you have Samantha Brown's Places to Love on PBS.
Yes.
Which is in the 4th season?
Yes, we were in the 4th season. Yes.
So
something happened along the way.
It's amazing. I mean, you've had so many shows, and I know you started out. You're a trained actor.
That's right. I'm a thespian. Now, I went to school, Syracuse University, for musical theater, so I can sing, dance, and act.
Wow.
Yep.
That's pretty impressive. But you were born in Texas, raised in New Hampshire?
Exactly.
Look at that. And how are you doing right now with quarantine?
I'm doing good. I'm certainly doing a lot better. I think when you're on the California coast, I'm in New York, and we got hit first, right? And
we kind of swapped.
Sorry?
We kind of swapped. New York was getting hammered, and then they're doing a great job. We were doing great, and now we're getting hammered.
Yeah. But so we, it was really phenomenally stressful back in February when we saw that this was coming and realized, oh, it's coming. It's coming for us, right? And when it was in China, it was one thing. When it was Italy, it was still far away. And then it became real. And then we were still traveling. We had plans to travel to do an episode in London, as well as in the Tyrol region of Austria. And that was March 15th. We were planning to leave. And just this sort of like, do we go? Because no one had said don't go. So we're like, well, we have to go because we're in the travel industry. We want to promote the travel industry. And then I got scared because most of my crew is from Seattle, and that was the first outbreak Seattle neighborhood was the first outbreak in the United States. So I thought, oh my goodness, what if we're not allowed in there? Right. So it was like, do we get home and can we get in? And then luckily, then our government called it and said, no travel, we're not allowing people come in. And so but it was tough. It was really, it's still hard, but I think just emotionally, mentally, we are past the toughest part.
And have you been on a plane since then? And would you go on a plane tomorrow?
Heck no, and heck no. Is that too honest? I don't know.
No, I'm the same with you. I have not flown since the end of February, and unless I really have to get on a plane, I'm not going to get on one.
Yeah. I think that, it seems like some, and you would know better than me, some air carriers are better than others in enforcement and really laying down the law. Some air carriers are better at saying, hey, we're going to remove the middle seat option. You don't even have to worry about that. Others are saying, hey, if we can fill the plane, we're going to fill the plane and we'll rebook you. So it's just more uncertainty. And, the uncertainty is what I'm trying to just rein in a little more because I've had, and I think we've all had so much of it that until it can be a little more certain, I'm just staying home. But it doesn't mean I don't travel. I'm just closer to home.
Right.
And doing it in a car.
Well, good news this week, most of the major airlines, hotels have all said they're going to require masks, no exceptions. That people couldn't use an excuse unless they have some airlines wouldn't even allow any excuse. They say, sorry, you just can't fly us. But Delta will let you speak to a doctor virtually in front of the gate agent privately. But, we'll see. I mean, this world too, everyone's cracking down.
Everyone's cracking down, and it took way too long. And the federal government not making a mask a mandate is just ridiculous. Agreed. For goodness sakes, I remember after 9/11 being in a TSA security line, and there was a sign. I believe it was either JFK or LaGuardia. It was one of those airlines airports that I fly out of. There was a sign that said, "Do not even say the word bomb, or you will be escorted off this line." You couldn't even say any sort of. Right, you couldn't say it on a plane. You could just saying a word you could not say, and that was a federal mandate, right? I assume so. I don't, but it was just you will be escorted out of this airport. And the fact that there's this pandemic, a virus that spreads in close proximity to people who are crowded together, and it took this long to get, I thought was ridiculous.
It is. Unfortunately, it is, and hopefully, it's going to change and we can all get back. But I think it's going to be a while. We'll see what happens. No one knows.
Yep.
In the meantime, we're getting creative.
We are getting creative. Very creative.
And by the way, how can people find you during quarantine? I know you do Facebook Live every Wednesday. What's your website?
This is so Samantha-Brown.com is my website, but we've been doing a Facebook Live every week now for about 4 weeks. That's how we've gotten creative and really being more just spontaneous and personal to people who have followed me for hopefully many, many, many years, and giving them a little bit of hope. Travel will come back. There's no doubt about it. And there's ways to dream, there's ways to plan, there's ways to be together and talk about travel, because it's really what unites so many of us. So we have started Facebook Lives every Wednesday at 9 p.m. And I give you my best travel tips and funny behind the scenes stories of what it's like to produce a travel show. A lot of what you see edited, a lot gets edited out. And so it's just kind of fun to talk about that. So Instagram as well, I'm Samantha Brown Travels, and Facebook, I'm Real Samantha Brown. Good. I'm not the fake Samantha Brown.
What's that?
I'm not the fake Samantha Brown. I'm Real Samantha Brown.
Well, it's funny. I Googled your name today, and actually on Google, it says you're married to Kevin O'Leary, which is your husband's real name, but it shows the guy from Shark Tank.
It does.
Yes. And I'm like, what? So I guess, did anyone ever say, come up to you and say, are you married to Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank?
In the beginning, yes, because actually it was more after we had kids, because it was announced, Samantha Brown and Kevin O'Leary, and they're like, oh my God, you're married to Kevin O'Leary. And for a few months, I would say for 6 months, we would get a call once a week from TMZ.
Oh my gosh.
Asking if he would go, and he's like, I'm not the Kevin O'Leary you think I am. And but I like that Kevin O'Leary, and but I have my own Mr. Wonderful.
You sure do. He's very wonderful.
The best. Yeah,
he really is. All right, so how many countries do you think you've been to?
I think I've been to close to 73. I think I'm in the early 70s.
Okay, how about continents?
Oh gosh, that's a good one. Oh
Antarctica?
God. No.
Well, you've been to Africa?
Close. I've been close to Antarctica, but that doesn't count, right? I've been just right at Punta Arenas, right? Which I think is the liftoff, right? That's where you take the boat and go. So close.
So I've been to 6 out of the 7. It sounds like you've been too, because you've been to Africa and Australia.
I have, yes. Yeah, okay. Africa and Australia.
So, and I know you've been to all the other ones, South America, Asia, Europe.
At least 20 continents, at least.
Yeah. So, okay, good. So, what's your earliest travel memory?
Oh, my earliest travel memory was loading up into our Pontiac station wagon with the dog, my 2 other sisters, and my parents, and doing road trips to Pennsylvania. And we would leave at 4 a.m. with a cooler of bologna sandwiches and just go. And my dad, what I loved about these road trips is my dad is a bit of a speedster. He actually races cars. Wow. And so here we are in our Pontiac station wagon, and he would on the highway, there's the passing lane, the fast lane, and then there's the right lane. And he would always just zoom right up to the people who were going slow in the fast lane. In my father's eyes, there was no worse a person who would drive slow in the fast lane, and he would just ride their tail to the point where they finally moved over and would flip us off. And so me and my sisters, we would count how many times we were given the finger. That was our car. That was our road trip game. And I just road trips, and we're back to that. And I love that. It was always the road trip to go see the relatives.
Yeah, I grew up with a station wagon. I'm the youngest of 4. I was always in the way back with the dog and the luggage. Uh-huh. No seatbelts. I mean,
exactly.
You wouldn't think about that today.
And remember those? Did you have that station wagon that had that third back seat?
Yes.
Like, so if you were rear-ended, you were just dead, right?
Gone. I mean,
And you're
it's
gone.
insane what we did back then.
I know. 1970s parenting. It was the best. Now it's
It,
like we put our children in bubble wrap.
it's true. My son doesn't go out without a helmet.
Yeah, exactly.
So what's your favorite American city?
Oh, gosh. Okay. I would say, I'm going to say, I should just be quick about this, right? Not even think about it. Santa Fe.
Santa. I thought for sure you'd say New York City or Boston.
Well, I mean, I think that's a given, but
Gotcha.
but I love Santa Fe. It was one of the oldest cities in the United States, and it's just really this confluence of phenomenal cultures from European to Native American, and it's beautiful. You've got this gorgeous city with tons of art, and then just not even a mile outside of the city, phenomenal hikes. So this connection to culture and our Native American heritage, as well as the best margaritas. I've been to Santa Fe probably 8 times, and I've taken my mom there and my sister there on separate girl trips.
How about LA? Any desire to ever move to LA?
Oh yeah, like when I see your pictures, right? And you're just at the beach, like, after work, or like, I just, oh, let's go here. Like, yeah, there is a bit of jealousy, I would say, from the East Coast to the West Coast of your lifestyle. So,
Well, especially in the wintertime.
yeah, yeah.
How about internationally?
My favorite country, my favorite.
Favorite city international?
I should have had this planned.
Favorite country?
Favorite country is New Zealand right now. I would move
I would
there.
move to New Zealand right now.
Yes. My
Jacinda's
parents
amazing.
would kill me. My parents would kill me. New Zealand is a phenomenal country, gorgeous nature, and just the most wonderful people I have ever met. I mean,
Right.
quite seriously. And I've
They
met a
really
lot
are.
of
A billionaire
lovely.
one time picked me up at the
Yeah.
airport. He's a billionaire in New Zealand, and I was going to check out his property, and the guy picked me up, grabbed my luggage, and I'm like, I mean, if you were not even a millionaire, you would have someone else pick someone up at the airport.
Exactly. I love at the airport at Auckland, if you look at the flight board and they have all the flights listed, it doesn't say like the times. If your plane's not leaving for like the next half an hour, it just says relax. And so across the entire flight board, it just goes relax, 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 relax. And
That's
that's just
awesome.
New Zealand to a T, right?
I
Just
don't
relax.
I don't remember that, but that is
Plenty of
awesome.
time. Plenty of time.
Um,
Um,
so actually, the answer might be the Kiwis, but where do you think the friendliest people in the world are?
Yeah, I just New Zealand, hands down, and
Right.
just they're gosh, they just extend such warmth, hospitality, and familiarity right from the get-go. I mean, you're a friend. And I think it's because everyone who goes there, including the people who first emigrated there, the Maori, had to travel many thousands of miles to get there, and they understand that. They've understood that the traveler to New Zealand has come a long way. And I feel like every New Zealander has it within their heart to make sure that a traveler there is going to feel a special kind of welcome and a firm thank you for making the distance.
Yeah, I'm with you. Did you touch the noses? I can't remember what it's called.
Oh yeah,
It's a
exactly. Yeah,
great.
exactly. Yeah. I forget what it's called in Maori. I know in Hawaii they do that as well, where you believe the breathe in the aloha, right?
Yeah,
And
you
it's
will
the
definitely
spirit.
not be doing that during COVID-19.
I see, Johnny. I don't know what I'm gonna do because I'm a hugger,
Me
and
too.
I don't know what I'm gonna do. That's right, you are too. And it's just like, what are we gonna do? Like, have you come up with something when you see people? Like, when I haven't
I
seen
guess
someone
you
in a
gotta
long
kind of
time,
actually been doing this lately, like
yeah,
I'm
just like
high.
you hold them close to your heart like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so weird because I actually have nightmares once in a while where I'm like at a function and all of a sudden I see one of my friends and I go to hug them and they're like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I
Ah,
forgot."
God, sorry. Exactly. Oh, cooties,
Yeah.
circle, circle, dot, dot. I've got my cootie shot.
My son went to the doctor yesterday to the dermatologist, and the doctor went to give him a high five, and Jack said, "Sorry, there's a virus."
Wow.
So
There
I'm
you
like,
go.
I mean, the kid's amazing, but I mean, that's not a world I want him to grow up in.
I know. I know. I
Yeah.
know.
All right. Which country has the meanest immigration officers?
Oh gosh, the meanest have been, well, including our own. um, I would say, um,
You don't have to give me an answer.
no, I've had a really bad experience in You know what? That wasn't mean.
Where'd you have a bad experience?
Bad experience in, I want to say, it's a Caribbean island, Nevis. Is that an
Okay,
island?
Nevis, yeah.
Nevis, thank you. And it was just
Thank
long.
you.
It just wasn't well run. So it's like, I can't come back here. I can't spend
Gotcha.
3 hours. But in terms of mean, nothing. I can tell you where I've had the nicest experience.
Yeah.
With immigration officers, or when you go through border control.
Yeah.
And that is in oh gosh,
Ireland.
yeah, but it's not Dublin. What's the Shannon. So we all arrive in Shannon, my whole crew, and we're in this line. And of course, where they separate the Irish residents and everyone else, or European Union, I guess I should say. And so we're in the non-European Union lines. We're like, yes, because the other line is the really long one. And so we get there and we're like, maybe there's only 20 people compared to 200 other people in the European Union line, but our line is going painfully slow. And I don't know why. I'm like, what is this? What, we're all like little New Yorkers, right? Come on, let's go. And we get up and the guy's like, oh, now where are you coming from? And what are you doing here? I'm like, well, I'm thinking these are like, of course, I'm like, I'm here to work. Oh, what are you working on? Well, we're here to do a travel show, are you? Well, where are you going? And it's just like, and I'm like, oh, now I know why this is taking so long, but just delightful. And he said, I've got a few names for you here. Like, this is a good one. And just lovely people. So yeah, Ireland.
That's awesome. They're amazing. My microphone or your microphone?
Are you hearing feedback or something?
That's so weird. Hopefully it's on my end and people won't hear it, but it sounds like a CB radio, like the old days when you're watching, Charlie's Angels, and all of a sudden it gets interrupted by, 10-4.
You're speaking my language. Charlie's Angels, Smokey and the Bandit, all those.
I'm with you. We are you an ab geek at all? Do you care what kind of plane you're on or no?
Not at all. In fact, if you said, were you on a 757? I'd be like, I don't know what that is. Isn't that terrible? I just don't know.
Okay.
I'm not.
What's your drink of choice, in the air or on the ground?
Well, I mean, you mean when I travel, my drink of choice?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just a nice glass of white wine, something more acidic, nothing woody or oaky in terms of the Chardonnay.
And do you always get upgraded?
I do a lot on Delta because that's where most of my miles are. Oh, this is really exciting. I need to put this on social media. I finally became a 1,000,000 miler on Delta.
Good job. And
I did it. My last 10,000 miles were buying groceries. So that's how I slid into home base, because I haven't traveled. So out of the blue, like 2 months ago, they said, oh, you're a 1,000,000 miler. I'm like, how could that happen? I'm like, oh, because I have a credit card and it goes right to Delta and that sort of thing. I'm like, well, there we go. So my $500, $600 grocery bills finally got me that last round. So yeah, so if I fly Delta, I usually get upgraded. Yeah.
Good job. And what's your favorite lounge? Do you have a favorite lounge, airline lounge?
Any lounge in Asia, just phenomenal, right? They're epic, and you actually want to get to the airport a good 2 hours before, just so you can enjoy the 10 different buffet options and just kind of eat your way through it. So obviously those are gone too now, right? But just that. The Asian airports lounges are the best. I'm not really a lounge person, though. Maybe that's the question. I like to walk around. I like to get in a walk and just kind of, so maybe I'll, go get a free meal, get a nicer bathroom, but I won't hang out in the lounge for long.
I'm the same way. But I get the food, I use the loo, and then I'm out.
Exactly. And then you're gone. Yeah, exactly.
Although they have nice playrooms sometimes, especially when you're with little kids.
Yeah, exactly.
Which credit card do you use when you travel? Is it the Delta one?
I have my Delta Platinum Amex, and then I also have a Chase Sapphire blue card.
And do you ever have problems with either one of them when you're traveling?
A lot of times people don't like American Express, especially in the United States, and because they take such a big fee.
Right.
So that's usually the only problem that I have. Small businesses don't prefer American Express.
Same thing with me.
Yeah.
Favorite restaurant?
Favorite restaurant? Oh my gosh. That can't be a question.
Favorite restaurant in New York City.
Okay. Isn't this terrible? I don't really eat
Favorite
out.
restaurant in Brooklyn.
Aldi La. It's a wonderful restaurant in Brooklyn.
What's it
Aldi La.
called?
Aldi La. And it's Italian. Aldala. Aldi. Oh, Aldila. Aldi
Well,
La.
and then how about what's the craziest thing you've ever eaten?
An eyeball. Fish's eyeball, I should clarify.
That's good.
I had, oh, it was phenomenal. It's called fish eye curry. And
Where's that?
the eye is a massive, and it was in Singapore. And so as the guest of honor, you get the eye, and you know, it's an eye, and it's pretty big too.
So you can't swallow it.
No, you just kind of put it, they said you put it on your tongue and you just let it dissolve. And so, and of course, turning this down is a total dishonor. Yeah, you can't do that. So I braced myself, and it was wonderful. It was just like butter. It's just like a nice fat. It was lovely. But I've had a lot of strange things, even though I'm not Andrew Zimmern or the late great Anthony Bourdain. I've eaten a lot of things that you would probably be surprised about.
Yeah. Tastes like chicken.
Yeah.
Favorite hotel?
Oh, so many. Oh gosh, don't get me started. I think I love one of my favorites is Shutters on the beach. I mean, you're pretty close to there, right?
Yes.
Aren't you? Oh, I mean, just it does feel like you're staying at your your rich aunt's beach house, and they have butterscotch pudding, which is my favorite, and the view is amazing. The beds are great, and I've been
You always see
lucky enough to
celebs
stay
there. I walked in one time and Sean Penn's just hanging out by the fireplace, and
exactly. Well, that's what living in LA is, really. I mean, you just have such a oh my gosh, there's so many, because that was my job for so long, staying in great hotels. But
right.
my other favorite one is the Library, and that is in New York City. And it's on 49th Street, just a few blocks over from the main New York City Public Library with the two lions.
I've stayed there. Great hotel.
It's a great hotel and a great concept, books, and they've been around for a long time. So I love those.
Actually, I remember watching your show way back when, and I think you did the Time Hotel.
Yes.
And I was like, that is so cool.
Yeah, you're right. That was in New York City as well, right?
Yes. Yep.
I don't know if that's around anymore. Oh my gosh.
I think it was, because I actually stayed there not a couple of years ago, but.
Oh, okay. All right.
Anyway, I thought of you when you said that.
Yeah.
Best hotel view.
Oh, did I just lose you?
No. Can you hear me?
Oh. Yeah, mine just There we go. Sorry, just switched off. Interesting. Best hotel view. I might get flack for this, but one of my favorite views in a hotel is Disney's Animal Kingdom Lodge.
Yeah,
I don't know if you've ever been there with your children, but you look out over savannah, right? And there are giraffes and wildebeests and all kinds.
That's in Orlando?
That's in Orlando. Yeah, it's my favorite Disney resort, the Animal Kingdom Lodge. And every morning you just go out with a cup of coffee and you just sit there as giraffes go by and graze. And I just have always loved that view and just being out, because I haven't been to that part of Africa, well, the Disney part of Africa. I mean, I've never been on an animal safari or an African safari. And so for me, that's just,
you got to do that.
I know, right? Exactly.
That's got to be your next show.
Definitely.
What's your favorite travel movie?
I love, is it Hotel Budapest?
Yeah, I did not see it. I think there is one.
It's phenomenal. Oh my gosh, it just is it Wes Anderson? I'm so sorry, I should know this. Just such a great movie, and it puts you in this spot and you feel like you're there, and it's quirky and fun, and Just like you and I, we live in hotels, so there's this respect for the hotel and the hotel staff and everything that goes on there. So that's one of my favorites. The other one is A Room with a View. That's a travel movie? Yeah,
For
yeah,
sure. Anything
yeah.
that
Man,
gives you
that's a
travel
first.
inspiration.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
How
And then of course James Bond are the classic travel movies. I mean,
big
I
time.
had no idea what St. Moritz was unless there was, James Bond having champagne there. So I think James Bond really introduced me to the world as a very young kid.
Yeah, me too. I used to love going to see James Bond. How about TV show? Favorite travel show besides your own?
Oh gosh. Oh boy, there's so many good ones. I love Michaela Malazzi,
Yeah.
Bare Feet Traveler
And
on
she
PBS.
said, I interviewed her and she said that yours are her favorite. And by the way, I interviewed a lot of people where they say they answer you for this question.
Nice. I want to know all the people who didn't say me. I want their names.
I'll give you their addresses.
Exactly. I just love how she approaches travel through dance and really being a newbie at something and learning and just kind of exploring something. We see a lot of travel shows through the lens of food, and they're done by really great people, but I feel like we've kind of beaten that horse so much that I love to see other ways of experiencing great travel. Another really good show, what is it? Salt, fat, heat, acid. I don't know how they're said. With the
I
oh
haven't
gosh,
seen it, but someone said the same thing. It's on
yeah,
Netflix.
yeah, yeah, Netflix, and it's the chef, and she's fantastic. Samin, and phenomenal, and I love her. And that is a food show, but she doesn't. I love how I love when people show you in terms of being a host, or like the way you explore a place. I love when people show their vulnerability, and Michaela does that really well. Samin does that really well. And I love that because we are all actually, in the end, really vulnerable when we travel. And showing that vulnerability is harder than it looks. You don't want to show that about yourself. You want to be like, I'm an expert. I know what I'm doing.
Right.
And so I always love when people let us in.
Kind of like what I'm doing right now. I'm kidding. All right, just a few more questions. How about favorite travel book? Do you read a lot?
Not anymore. No,
Okay.
I'm not a
I'm the
good
same way.
reader. Yeah, I can read 4 paragraphs and then I put it down and I don't get back. But I've read a lot of travel books. The one that, oh gosh, I'm not gonna remember it. Uh,
I'll send a blog post for
okay, an
Kevin to
update.
edit, and you can pop it in there.
Yeah, yeah.
Really
Like
good
I love
reason.
I love travel writing. Like Jan Morris is one of my favorite travel writers,
Yes.
female, doing things way before I got there, and really inspiring me. And there's amazing travel writers as well.
How about worst travel moment?
Gosh,
If it's not too personal.
worst travel moment. Um, I won't tell you where it happened, but it was recently when we were shooting, and our van was broken into and gear was stolen, and just being like, what? And that was, and knowing that people's personal items were stolen from our crew, expensive gear was taken, and we're like, oh my gosh, we're here to show the positives of the place, and we
And
were just
was
totally
your
robbed.
film or not film, but
Passports were stolen.
that sucks.
And it's just, yeah, it was just like, you're like, oh man. And then we had to go, we had to keep going. It's like, we have a show to do, the show must go on. We have to keep shooting. And so that was a really bad, like, oh man, because we're there to really promote the best of people. And when something like that happens, it kind of just, it takes a bite out of you. It does.
Yeah. How about the most embarrassing travel moment?
Oh my gosh. Well, it was with my husband. Are you ready for this one?
Yes.
So we were dating and we were serious. And we were still in the stage of like me dressing in outfits, trying to impress him and being, pretending I'm put together. You remember when you went through that stage, right? And we did our first weekend away, and it was a wedding. We had a great time. And now we were coming back and we were getting our luggage at LaGuardia. And so I had to use the ladies' room, and Kevin went to go get our bags. And so I come out from the ladies' room and I see my bag. And because you just know by the frumpiness of a bag, you just know how it looks, even from a distance. You're like, oh, that's my bag. But I see something on my bag. I'm like, what is that? And I'm like, and it was like pink. And I'm like, it's my underwear. So, and here's a tip: never put your dirty clothes in that front pocket of your luggage, because the zipper had kind of broke, and some funny baggage claim handler just thought it'd be really funny to pull it out and put it right on my luggage. Oh. So the bag with my underwear is now going around the baggage claim belt, and everyone is laughing and everyone is pointing, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And so I just kind of suck it up, and Kevin's at a different spot. And so I quickly take the underwear, I put it back, unzip it, I get my bag, and I come around, and he's like, oh, you got your bag? I'm like, yeah, I got my bag, let's go. And we're walking away, and I'm like, whew, didn't have to be embarrassed by that one, and dodge that bullet. And all of a sudden Kevin goes, you weren't here, but a bag went around and a woman's underwear was on it. And I'm like, that was me.
That's hilarious.
So I was like, yep. I put myself like, yeah, that was me. It was my underwear. So the overall, and Johnny, you and I always love to make sure that people understand a travel tip at the end of this. Where did we go wrong is never put anything in that front pocket unless, you want it to be displayed for everyone to see.
That's a good travel tip.
Yeah.
So my last question for you then is actually two questions. What's your dream destination? And what's the most important thing travel has taught you?
Oh gosh, my dream destination. I have so many. The world just gets bigger. It doesn't get any smaller, but has always been on my bucket list to see the Aurora Borealis. Maybe that's in Finland. I think I've always wanted to go to Finland for some reason. Maybe get those reindeer and then stay in one of those glass yurts. I just love that. It just seems absolutely magical. And then I would love to do more of the Middle East when that's available. Afghanistan, Iran, one day, right? One day we'll be able to go. Yeah. And because I just love the people there are beautiful and friendly, and they have a culture that they just don't really have a lot of access to. So I would love to do that. And then the last question was?
What has travel taught you? The most important thing travel has taught you?
I think the most important thing travel has taught me is to really reach out to other people and to connect with people, and how to do that. And it's a lot easier than it seems. And at first, when I started traveling, I really thought travel was about just seeing things and being in a place. And now I realize that it's really about connecting with others, people who aren't like us, people who have come from a different demographic or different skin color, different religious background, and just get to know them and meet them face to face and really care about their experience. So that's what I really feel like I've dedicated my now travel life to, with Places to Love, is to really find great stories, great people who all travelers can interact with, and just listen to understand and not just respond.
I mean, that's a great answer. And I appreciate you taking the time. And one more time, where can people find you?
Oh, just find me. You can find me on Instagram at Samantha Brown Travels. You can find me Facebook at.
How about your show? Can they stream it?
Sure. So Samantha Brown, Places to Love. It's on Create TV right now, which is syndicated cable, 10:30 every Wednesday night.
Okay, great. Everyone watch it. And sign up to Samantha's newsletter. Please sign up to mine. Subscribe to this podcast, this YouTube channel. And Samantha, I hope to see you soon and be able to give you a hug.
I know, exactly. You know what? Let's make a deal right here. We'll have masks on. We'll just go in quickly. Nothing, and then we'll leave. Well, okay, and then we'll get the hand sanitizer out or something like that. But yeah, we're huggers.
That's a good deal. All right, Samantha.
All right, take care.